Welcome, this is Mayo the African. Today we're going to have a discussion around slavery. Majorly slavery affecting Africans, and we know of the main slavery took place in West Africa that involved the Europeans. And then also we had slavery taking place in the East Africa coastal region, which was majorly perpetrated by the Omani, or rather the Arabs. Some people may have a discussion surrounding the slavery in the coast of Africa. Since some people say that why should we say that there was slavery along East Africa and we cannot see the offspring of those slaves in the Arab countries? However, the research portrays that the slaves who were taken to Asian countries were castrated. That is majorly to prevent them from procreating. However, the Europeans' slavery was very different from what happened among the Arabs. The Europeans, upon acquiring the slave, they saw the humans or the blacks as animals. In this case, they saw a commodity which could be used in farm. At the same time, this commodity could also multiply and sire and give birth to other slaves to work, therefore increasing the number of slaves. And that is why we can point out the slaves which were taken by the Europeans. We can point them in the United States and some parts of Europe, such as France, Portugal, and other parts. The study has been carried out among the Gula people, which are mainly found in Georgia and North Carolina, and their accent or their vowels or their talking, or rather their language orientation and some of their cultures has close relation with those with the people in Sierra Leone. In Sierra Leone, majorly the Puans land, that was the main or that was the active place where the slaves were taken to. That is, they were acquired from other parts of Africa and taken to Putans or Punans. At this point, this served as a central location for the collection of slaves owing to their access or to the access of the transatlantic ocean, where the transatlantic slave trade took place. It is reported that by 2013, approximately 40 million Africans had been taken to different parts of the world as slaves. And sad enough, 75% accounts to children. At the same time, the slavery activity is still active, and it's estimated that it earns approximately 150 million US dollars annually, making it one of the lucrative business even to date, despite the fact that the vice has been outlawed. So slavery in West Africa, the West African people were seen as the major or the main target owing to their skills in rice growing, owing to their resistance to tropical diseases, and to their strength, which was majorly needed in the farms, which was the most needed labor in those countries. However, as we speak, it's worth to know that most of these European countries grew owing to the labor force provided by the Africans, and it's sad enough to note that even to date they don't appreciate the fact. So slavery is one of the things which we can say led to a revolution, that is the agricultural revolution, and even during the industrial revolution period. Despite the setting up of the industries, it's also wise to know that those industries thrive using the produce from the farms, and in those farms, slaves were the ones working. Africans during this time were mistreated, they were treated like animals, and they were treated as people who can hire other people to work for them. Statistics, or rather the research, posits that even the current or the Christianity during that time were used as the major or as a means of conveying the slavery vice, owing to some verse of the Bible which posits or which says that slaves should be submissive to their masters. In fact, in the recent cases, the Anglican Church and the Catholic Church has come out clearly and apologized for taking part or for supporting the Slavery Act. It's worth to know that the slavery activity meant to dehumanize Africans. It was meant to make them lose their identity. It was meant to treat them like animals. It was meant to treat them like they are of inferior race. However, upon outlawing of this, the slavery activity did not stop completely. And we can still see the act in some of the Middle East countries where our people are taken there as maybe home cards. Some are home managers, but the treatment they receive there is good to note that, or it's good to term them as slaves even in this modern society. Slavery ought to be fought with all resources available. Slavery ought to be seen as an inhuman act and should not be tolerated at all cost. During this time, the slaves or the whites, upon the outlawing of the slaves or of the slavery activity, it set in or it introduced the period of colonization. At this time, the whites saw that there was no need for us to incur the transportation cost of maybe transporting these black people to their specific countries where they will be working in the farms, and thought it wise that we can still produce what we want them to can produce maybe in the United States, in Portugal, or in Oman, or in all other parts. We can produce them in this African continent, therefore leading to the colonization time. During the colonization, your land or the land of Africans was taken by force. Then also you are forced to work in the same land, and whatever you produce is taken to those said countries. In our next episode, we are going to delve into the colonization time, what prompted the colonization, and what happened after the gain of independence by most of the African countries, which actually laid ground for neocolonialism, which is still active today. Thank you, and I request for your subscription if you don't mind, and share and like. Let's grow together. Bye-bye.